Hey Tony, all right, here's your past life spread. So what we're going to do is look at where we are, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, the death, and the lesson learned. And I would say we would do the time period, but we could put that away based on where I see we are here. So your job is to make the connections where you can in this life and your current life. And I'll help you along the way, but just keep an open mind and make connections wherever you can, all right? So let's start. Okay. And this life is a male life. It's just a feeling, the feelings and images and impressions I get, so I'm going to relay that to you. So I'm feeling like this, we're looking at a male. And where we're going to start is right here, and this is the Atlantis and Lemuria card, and you've probably heard of Atlantis or Lemuria. And they're two different civilizations, and so they're more in like ancient times. That's why we put the time card away. And I'm getting a really strong pull towards the Atlantis side. So we're in Atlantis, and this place, compared to Lemuria, has more of an aggressive energy to it. So it doesn't mean you're aggressive, it just means you are in a place where there's a more aggressive energy, there's more movement, there's more standing up for yourself here, I think, rather than being more passive in Lemuria. So keep that in mind. And so what you do with the majority of your time, we have the Life at Sea card. And that can mean a few things, right? That can mean you can be a guard at the coast, or you can be a captain of a ship. And so here, what I'm getting is that you moved around the coast of the island, but it wasn't like a security kind of thing. It wasn't like you were looking to keep anyone safe. I feel like you were on expeditions. I don't know what for. So all they're showing me is this small craft, and it's moving along back and forth the coast every day. And sometimes it ventures out more. Instead of the coast, it goes out a little bit more. I want to say has to do something with the depth of the waters, possibly mapping the waters, like cartography, but not so much the water, because you're not going far. You're not mapping long distances. It's like almost like things within the water, like maybe sea life or plant life or the properties of the water. I feel like there's something special about the water at this time here near Atlantis. I don't know what it is though, but so it's like sparkling water, almost like not the sun hitting it, but like diamonds. So just keep that in mind. I'm feeling like your mind here is scientific. And there's like a keen interest in biology or in what is it, like understanding the properties of how things work, understanding the meaning behind how things work. So keep that in mind as far as how you might be today. How the connection can be made is you could very well be someone who is very interested in how things work and the mechanisms, or understanding the reasoning behind why something works a certain way. Or the connection can be opposite, where you spent so much time in this life doing that now you just are someone who takes things as they are and lets it go. So keep that in mind. That's how you can make connections either way. You can also make connections, for example, you might be someone who loves the ocean, who likes being out the water, just moving along the coast, someone who likes to put his feet in the water, something like that. So keep that in mind as far as how connections can be made. Okay, so the first important day here. So what are we seeing? So this card is the Wowzer card. This usually indicates that it's a day where something important is happening, where you're growing in some way or learning something that is expanding your soul or your knowledge or something like that. So I'm trying to see, what is it? What's happening? The relationship involved here is a child relationship. So this is the child card right here. And then the feelings associated here are sadness. So what's happening here? Okay, so what I'm getting here is that you have a partner and your partner has a miscarriage. And I feel like this this is a wowzer day for you, because you had plans made in your head already of how your life would be, and this is the first child you have in this life, and you're having plans in your head. Both of you are making plans on the rest of your life with this child involved. So this day really is kind of a soul-crushing day. It's unanticipated, and I feel like overall your partner in this life almost handles it better than you do, even though she's the one that physically and emotionally is going through this on a different level than you as a male. And I feel like it's almost like it's really hard for you to handle, to the point where there's a withdrawal involved. And I feel like if this speaks to you in any way with connecting to your current life, you may be someone who, when the emotional aspect gets to a certain point or depth, there might be a bit of a switch off where you just don't even realize it, but you really can't handle it. Like, it's like a feeling of not being able to cope very well, or maybe articulate yourself as well as you would be able to articulate yourself at a different level of emotion when it's not so hitting you so hard deep down. I guess that could be normal for a lot of people. Maybe that's very common, but it's almost like there might be a switch off, because you're like, if I can't articulate myself like I usually articulate myself and have control over my words or my emotions when something hard hits like this, then there's no point in even discussing it. So I'd rather go be by myself. And that might be who you are today, maybe not. Maybe in this life you learned how to deal with it. So let's just continue and see, but keep that in mind. All right. I feel like this doesn't even go away. Like, this stays with you a long time. I feel like it was really hard to have children for you in this life. I feel like you almost had to convince your partner too in order to go, like she wanted it, but you really wanted kids. All right, so what's the next important day? Let's see. All right, so this is the Mother Nature card. Right there, Mother Nature is coming through. And the card linked is a spouse. This is your spouse. And then a feeling of loneliness. Why is this happening? What's going on? Okay, so what I'm getting is, it's not that, I don't think there's something like a tornado that hit you guys and you lost your spouse, so you're lonely. I don't think it's like that. I think what it is a feeling of isolation. I'm feeling like something is happening, like there is a huge storm that is coming. I feel like there's a big storm here, and the whole town, or wherever you live, the city where you live, people are gathering together with families, almost like they would to evacuate, like they would go underground to be safe in large groups. And I feel like you and your spouse kind of stay where you are and you isolate yourselves. And I feel like this isolation is like a continuance. There's something like you and your spouse are in your own world, and it's an isolation of emotion. It's emotional isolation as well as a physical. And on this day is the physical isolation, but I want to say it is linked to not having this complete family that you wanted. This is very interesting. It's like you're using your external environment to allow yourself to sink deeper into loneliness and isolation, if that makes sense. It's almost like you're someone here that makes excuses to go be social, and so it's like the rest of your life, it's just kind of feels like a ho-hum kind of life after this, because I feel like there was no children after this. So in this current life, you might have like a desire of fatherhood, a great desire of fatherhood, a great desire of family. Maybe you might even be, in this life you might be very social because you didn't get the aspect from this life. You grabbed onto isolation, and so in this current life you're living, you might want to break out of that, and you might be someone who is very inclusive of people. In the same vein, if that's not it, it can be the opposite, where you feel like you want to isolate yourself from the world, and even if it's something you might not do, it's maybe something you feel. Like maybe you have the feelings of wanting to get away, or the feelings of just wanting to keep to yourself. So just keep that in mind. It could be like a dual thing. You can be experiencing both in this life. Or if you feel like you can't understand the feelings of wanting to be alone or isolated, maybe maybe you have a full life and then you get these feelings of wanting to just get out of it. Those feelings would stem from this life. So just keep that in mind too. This was tough emotionally for you here. It's like a feeling of, if you have a mechanism that closes you down at a certain level of emotions at all, it stems from this life, especially with family members. It's almost like you might be someone who is so invested in loving the people that are involved in your life, your family members, that they can also hurt you the most. So it's like on a subconscious level that you might do this mechanism with them rather than strangers who don't matter in the long run. It's people who you don't see every day, you don't have to invest in. The people you invest in can hurt you the most, and that might be something that contributes to a mechanism where you cut off, or you want to go away, or you don't want to deal with certain things that are really hard to deal with as human beings. So if this is you, just know it stems from this life. If not, that's okay. Let's just make the connections where you can. All right. So we go to the death. This death is the murder card, or being killed by another. So I'm seeing what happens here. I get the feeling of just a full-on theft turned bad. Someone coming to your house like, oh, these are the people who are isolated, they're quiet, these are people, this is a place where we won't get any trouble if we go and take, and we can easily go and take. And so I feel like it's a group of like scavengers, or a group of, I want to say like 3 guys come in, and they want to take. It's just a robbery gone wrong. And they just end up killing you. I don't know about your wife, but you certainly die kind of defending your stuff, which also speaks to a possible, in this life, you may feel possessive over your things. You may have a material quality about you, which isn't bad. It's just something where this is your stuff and it's yours, and you're possessive about it. And maybe even you take very good care of your things, or you're someone that likes, very much likes quality over quantity. So you take care of your things. And that can also mean relationships too. You can also possibly be possessive over people, which isn't, bad. It's very normal. But no, if that's a quality in you, it stems from here, of having something taken from you without any notice and for no reason. So that's the kind of thing that can carry over into this life. As well, you can be someone who is a bit paranoid at home about security. So if you're someone that wants a security system in your home and you make sure it's on every night kind of thing, or you look into fencing, like putting up fences around your place, or something having to do with keeping you and your family safe, if you're kind of someone who's about the safety thing regarding your home, that might stem from this life too. So just keep that in mind. All right, so the lesson in this life is interesting. It's dream big. And I get this feeling like after this happened, this day, you really closed yourself off to opportunity. And you also closed yourself off to allowing yourself to think of better times, of interesting upcoming things, of attending events, of just really going out and enjoying life to its fullest and meeting your potential really as a human being. I feel like you shied away during this life. So in a way, it's almost like in your current life, you might be someone who really goes after what you want, and who really doesn't shy away from taking opportunities, from wanting things, from dreaming about things, from maybe traveling, getting out there, meeting people. That might be what you enjoy to do in this life, because in your current life, because in this life you really shied away from that. And it's almost like a message to keep dreaming big, keep going, approach opportunities, or not approach opportunities, but when opportunities are presented to you, just take like every opportunity that you can. Even if you don't feel qualified, take the opportunity and you will learn to be qualified for it. Maybe you're already experiencing that. But yeah, so that's the lesson in this life that you didn't learn. You really didn't learn to dream big. And you kept yourself down. And so in this current life, it's kind of a message to, if you're not already, to go ahead and dream big and really expand yourself. That's what I want to say, is expand yourself. You have so much potential to just keep reaching and reaching and reaching new heights, new layers, new levels. And I would just say to keep going after that and allow yourself to expand and dream big. All right? So here's your life. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for letting me read you.